All right, welcome back to Surviving Diddy Live. What is going on, Dom? I mean, we're heading in the last home final stretches. We'll probably continue this in some way, but maybe it won't be a week by week, blow by blow, unless something crazy happens. I don't know. Look, this is 2025. Just everything crazy has happened this year, so
That is true. That is
I can't.
true.
I'm not going to say nothing is or not going to happen. So, um, before I cue everything up. You been all good with how you feeling?
I'm fine. I went to get a facial today. And I feel like my skin should be a little more glowy than what it is. So yeah, but she put something on there that was like firming. So I understand, but it's not I'm used to my skin like thriving. But I got another appointment toward like the end of next month. So for some dermaplaning action, that's all. How are you?
Good. I can't complain. Just family stuff on the family front, but that's all good, man. You know what? It's about that time, y'all. Hold on,
Wait a second, D.
You going?
I just got an alert from one of the reels that you posted on my page
Uh-huh.
surrounding brother Jaheim.
Oh no.
And somebody said I like they're gonna pray for me because
Pray for you. Why they gonna pray for you?
you know how I feel about Jaheim in that
Right, but
prison.
what's that got to do with praying? You act like that's like if you just
She,
like
I
Jaheim,
think
you just like
she's
Jaheim.
I think she is just trying to have me the spirit come over me because I don't care for Jaheim. That's all. That's all.
Okay, I guess if that's the way that you want to do it. I mean, hey, it is what it is.
It is what it
All right,
is.
but look, it's that time, y'all. We finna jump into it. You already know what it is. Does everybody pack on in? Let's get it. All right, Dom. I just love that so much. We're gonna have to just do that random times on the show, even after all this. I don't know, but let's. Where do you want to start with this, at Dom? Just to set the table for everyone as everybody comes in. We have just about the prosecution is up now. So prosecution did their final statements yesterday. Defense did their final statements again this morning, and then now that the defense team prosecution gets to come back in and have rebuts against the defense once again in the final thing now, and that's happening currently as we speak. But so far, what you've been hearing, how you've been thinking, especially with the idea before previously that they were saying that the charges were dropped, that wasn't necessarily true. Some of them consolidated, made more explainable for the jury.
Right.
It's interesting how that clickbait kind of got out there and everything too. But
Because people
I got to run right. You keep going.
yes, well that's simply because people are all about false headlines and clickbait, right? And so ultimately while people were saying, "Oh, we told you they was going to drop these charges, that they couldn't prove this or prove that," the only thing that they actually, like you said, they consolidated everything and made it more streamlined for the jury to understand the charges. It's a little late in the game, but it makes a little more sense when you actually kind of think about it because, you know, they don't want the deliberation to be something that's weeks on end. Like they want to get them in and get them out because the trial has already been so long. Like this has been an 8-week trial. So I kind of want to read a little bit.
Well, get your report. No, you've been doing an excellent job.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to read a blurb from the Independent regarding everything that's happening, and then it says and regarding this. And so, as we know, the music mogul faces 5 federal counts of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, and he pled not guilty. We know that. Somebody's named Diddy Kill Hip Hop is here. That is hilarious. They've been listening to you too much, but I love it.
Look, and the next episode is free Diddy publishing. I think that's the next hashtag, free Diddy publishing.
That is a great title. Under the racketeering conspiracy charge, prosecutors accused Diddy in the indictment of creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. In a letter to the court, the government proposed dropping 3 theories related to the racketeering conspiracy charge as a way to streamline jury instructions. They still intend to pursue the racketeering charge, but remove instructions related to attempted kidnapping, attempted arson, and aiding and abetting sex trafficking. And so we have that dialogue regarding everything that happened regarding Kid Cudi. That's the arson charge they have removed because they could not prove that Diddy blew his car up. Clearly there was not enough substantial evidence. All we do know is that he definitely broke into his home, per Capricorn's testimony, who also at one point it was part of that kidnapping charge because they whisked her away somewhere to a warehouse, hooked her up to a lie detector, and grilled her for hours because Puffy accused her of stealing thousands of dollars in jewelry from him. So that also, like I said, it's one of those things where they can't prove reasonable doubt, so they removed it. Puffy is actually still charged with sex trafficking, contrary to popular belief. So that's just so wild that was the part that people took and ran with. Because the prosecutors plan to focus on the racketeering conspiracy, which, if you've been watching, Daryl and I have had a conversation about that, and they've already kind of proven that to be true. I'm not gonna say kinda. They've proven that to be true. And then the conspiracy charges instead on proving forced labor and sex trafficking. And so at this point, everything pretty much still stands. We proved that he has transported drugs. He has used.
Well, they haven't proven that. I'll say that they haven't proven.
Like they've proven that.
I don't know. They've proven that.
Okay, so listen. When we think about Miami, wherever he was going, that right there, because you remember they arrested that guy and then he had to testify. But ultimately, I'm like, and what did he have on him? All these drugs. So they were able to, you didn't get that right there.
No. Fair enough.
So, like I said, they were able, so the kicker is with the DNA, with the firebomb, they found female DNA on there versus, I guess, Puffy's, I was like, if something blew up, how you get DNA anything? Which leads me back to, it could have been one of his co-conspirators. Like, we're not going to call his workers co-conspirators, but you kind of are. Yeah. If you was breaking and entering into this guy's home and opening Christmas presents.
Yeah, look, that's always still going to be one of the wildest things to me. That's the high level of petty.
It's ridiculous. So I understand how they cannot, since we cannot necessarily pin this on you, this is hearsay, and without any physical evidence that we can, even though the track record shows that you likely did this, but since we cannot pin this on you, that's we're gonna drop the arson part.
Yeah, I get it. But it's more of a thing of like, really? Like, you keep going down. Keep going.
No, that's all I was saying. It was just that, like, the defense was saying that they were saying that there was all these deficiencies in all these different claims. So ultimately, I think that was part of it. But like again, Puffy is still charged. Don't you throw up on that carpet? Get in the crate. Sorry, guys. Go get some water. Why you gotta talk to these animals like this? I'm sorry, guys. Less is more is saying he's gonna go free. I don't think he's gonna go free. I don't think he's getting life in prison. I said that to begin with. I felt like that was just a little harsh, but it's just also understanding that, like as you spoke to earlier, it is just a lot of people are getting their information from blogs, which are not, and that's not to knock any blog, but you're not a reputable news source. You're not tied to the case. You're not going in the courtroom and sitting in, understanding what's happening. You're not reading MSN. You're not reading the Independent or CNN, trying to get a clear understanding. And I think the whole time, D, we've been saying, just be a decent human being.
Look, that's the main thing.
It's some people that's sick, but you know, it's funny because I have a episode of Whiskey Sour that's coming out next week that we talked about double standards when it comes to men and women and calling a woman promiscuous, and she gets all these labels that are thrown on her when men don't get this at all. And we alluded to this case a little bit, and how this entire time nobody has called Diddy gay.
I didn't even. That's true. No, people have though. They have been.
You have maybe behind.
No, I've never.
No. But when you really think about it, the dialogues that I've had with men and women, nobody has called this man a bisexual or a homosexual. Nobody has.
With them taking the man's semen and pouring those nipples, cats was insinuating that they thought he was gay.
Fair, but nobody
publicly
has said or really kind of spoke or tried to label Diddy. But the main discourse that I see surrounding Puffy is he's on trial because he's a freak.
That's true.
That is the main discourse that I see when people talk about it, especially men. It is Puffy's a freak, so he likes kinks, he likes to do this or whatever. He shouldn't be in jail for this. And I'm like, what people are failing to realize is, please read them what the racketeering definition is. Because we forgot to lead with that. And let them know and understand, because they look at it through the gaze of, you know, Al Capone. What's the Latino dude that everybody
you talking about Pablo Escobar?
Yes, that everybody be like, oh, I'm Escobar. No, you're not.
I mean, this is funny. I'm reading Racketeering, Influence, and Corporate Organizations Act. All right. I'm reading it verbatim from the site. So this is for enterprise. This is for like getting criminal charges. There must be one to four specified relationships between the defendant and or defendants and the enterprise. And either the defendant invested the proceeds of pattern of racketeering activity into the enterprise, acquire or maintain an interest or control of the enterprise through the pattern of racketeering activity, participated in affairs of enterprise through those, conspired to be one of the above subsections. So that's how all those there. But the breakdown of what they are, predicated offenses are, like that we always talking about, any violation of state statutes against gambling, murder, kidnapping, extortion, arson, robbery, bribery, dealing in obscene manner, or dealing in a controlled substance or listed chemical. That's one. Any act, another one again, any act of bribery, counterfeiting, theft, embezzlement, fraud, dealing in obscene matter, obstruction of justice, slavery, racketeering, gambling, money laundering, embezzlement of union funds, bankruptcy fraud, drug trafficking, money laundering, acts of terrorism, and bringing in aiding or assisting aliens in illegal entry into the country. So those are your predicated offenses for racketeering.
Yeah, and he's already done a couple of those. So someone was saying this is all set up for mistrial. They already tried to go the mistrial route, and the judge said absolutely not.
Well, no. Mistrial is different than throwing out a mistrial. Is if it's
that's already been a conversation. That was a couple weeks ago. We didn't record that week.
No. That's throwing out the trial. Mistrial is if it comes 11-1 while they're voting and they can't come to a consensus.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I'll go back to hold on.
Yeah, they were trying to throw out the trial, but he's saying mistrial, which is basically they can't come to an agreement as the jury, a unanimous decision.
Okay.
That's what I think he's saying.
No, but the prosecution, I mean the defense put in a request a few weeks ago. I'm looking at it, and then the judge immediately rejected the defense request for a mistrial, and that was on May 28th.
So they already so they.
I think they just because I think what the defense is trying to prove, which he's had a really good, like, I'm not going to negate that. So the defense has had, like, as far as cross-examination, they've been really solid. So at this point, they have been trying to prove, like, this is all hearsay. There's no physical evidence, and there's no physical, like, touchable, tangible evidence.
Yeah, it's circumstantial. It's circumstantial.
Yes. So which is how we end up here, where they threw out, though they didn't throw out really any of the charges, it was them streamlining everything so the jury can go in and deliberate and understanding what they are deliberating, for. Like, so it's like, hey, when you go in, it's X, Y, and Z. It is not QRSTUV. We got this. If that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, it makes sense what you're saying.
So, the interesting, like, thing about all of this, another aspect is like I said, I don't think that he's gonna get life. I think it's just really trying to get people to understand the basics of what racketeering is and why it is what he did, funneling all of these illegal, illicit activities through his business, his corporation. So it looks as if Bad Boy was a front for him to do all of these things.
Yeah.
But he also, like we said, extorted Cassie and her family. Though he gave the money back, they took out a second mortgage against their home to pay
and the bank
him.
Don't take that, and the bank don't take that back.
Yeah, well, the bank not gonna take it back, but he paid them, like, he wired it back to them.
No, but I'm talking about that money that they got back. The bank's not like, oh, we can't be like, my bad, I didn't want to do that second mortgage.
Yeah, you can make a lump sum payment, but it's like, oh, like you said, you might as well use it to remodel your home at this point.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't even think about you exactly, because they ain't gonna take it back like we ain't doing it.
And I think sometimes, like, depending on, you might have a window. It's like you go get a new car, but if we've surpassed that window, and it's not a long window, it's like a few days. Where they will take that back without any recourse or whatever. So Myron Cooley said they are shaking him down, but they are shaking him down. But he gave them a noose to hang him on. So, but like we said, this all goes back to somebody probably told him that he could do this stuff, label it as something else, where he is through his business, where he can get a tax credit or whatever. Somebody probably told him that, or he tried it and it never got flagged. And then it took somebody like a Cassie to fully come up, because we've known the rumors, we've heard the stories for decades. It starts in college, the basketball game, and if we could take it back, even personal matters, to him at Uptown.
Okay, so Adam, I just looked it up just to try to see. You can't give back a loan after 3 days. A second mortgage. 3 days. Mm-hmm. You got 3 days.
Yep.
Damn. So don't even matter if you back the money.
Like when you got a car and you take it off the lot, they said you got like 72 hours to bring it back.
So that's what I was got enough debt. Dang.
So if they was negotiating all this stuff, it depending on, I don't know if they got the money in the account and they sent it, but whatever. Who knows? But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, So now you got extortion. We've proven that.
Mm-hmm.
They are guys. They are still charging this man with sex trafficking. But it's not as many counts. So I want to put that out there on the record. And then okay, sorry, it was the dog. I was like, what's going on over there?
No, but I mean, okay, Dom, as we're winding up and everyone's going back and forth, do you think they're gonna get them? I don't think they're gonna get them on all these charges.
No, I think you want to know what's funny is that I think
I ain't gonna front. I thought the prosecution was gonna come a little bit harder than what they did, to be honest. I'm gonna be 100% honest.
Oh, absolutely. I think there was a pivot or change with Jane Doe's testimony.
Allegedly, you talking about allegedly 56?
Yes, allegedly.
You think that changed up their whole? You think? I think it helped.
Now you have somebody that is aware, fully aware, and it is not that she's not. There was a layer of loyalty that she still kind of had because we know that
see. That's why would the prosecution even bring her up, knowing he was still paying her a rent? Because that looks bad. It's almost bad. Like Diddy set it up. Like she went in there.
But like we told you, the main person that who should have been a key witness was who?
Farnsworth Bentley.
Okay, on top of him. But I was going to say Gene Deal. Gene Deal should have been subpoenaed.
My thing is, this almost, I have another conspiracy with this. Maybe Diddy got old girl to walk in there to say, yeah, I want to testify. He's done stuff to me, but she throws the monkey wrench in it with her actual testimony.
Because yes, she has everything to lose. She don't want to lose any of that.
I don't know why the prosecution even brought her up, knowing that unless they did not know she was gonna go up there and say he been paying my $10,000 a month mortgage or apartment
in this entire time that he's been
paying it.
Yeah, because the interesting part about it is like the Capricorn Clark part, right? Where she is pretty much kidnapped. You are in a warehouse for hours, hooked up to this polygraph, and they don't necessarily consider that kidnapping. Anytime you take me somewhere against my will,
that is considered
kidnapping.
Well, let me. Yeah. I just if the prosecution does get this messed up, it's gonna be somebody gonna get fired because if that 50 Cent went, and this is all conjecture, y'all. And you know, and a lot of this is just other people kind of salting up the game and what we are discussing as non-legal people of like, yeah, man, I think that Diddy. It seemed like everybody was consenting. I mean, I don't know how those jurors are gonna feel on that. You know, I don't know how they're going to feel in the situation. Now, I tell you this, he ain't gonna walk scot-free. It may be they may not be able to come to a consensus or mistrial or whatever. Like, hey, we can't decide. It's a hung jury, not mistrial, hung jury. That's what it is. I'm thinking about hung jury. And so crime games, it's a hung jury we're thinking about, not a mistrial, hung jury. So I think it'd be a hung jury, like 11-1.
I can probably see that. My question is, my question is, let's say we convict Diddy.
Yep.
Diddy's convicted.
Yep.
What does that time look like?
Depends on which
55 years old. And not that that means anything because people are crazy.
Yeah.
But what does that actually look like? Because, you know, we do have things where he did break the law. I'm no attorney.
Shout out to Myron Cooley. That's a great conspiracy I can conjure in my head.
Like, but I'm also thinking of it from the perspective of, okay, we got you on X, Y, and Z. Probably not all 5 counts. Always told you that we like how we spoke about, because initially, you know, part of that conversation was the underage sexual interactions, which I said, hey, until somebody comes forward and says that I know this to be true because I am this person, that is hearsay. So we can't run with that. But like I said, for me, the part where I also was shocked that they didn't include it's the part about the weapons that they found at his house where the serial numbers are scratched off.
It must not have been. Somebody else probably gonna take that charge.
And then also, y'all tested the baby oil, and that was a key thing.
And I'm saying, what happened with that? What happened?
Why did anybody say that he was illegally, though these people consented, they were unknowingly drugged when they, you decided to use the baby oil because it had GHB in it. Like, this is tangible evidence. We tested it.
I don't know. That's what's like. Well, I don't understand this case now. If this is where we are and this is what we're trying to prove, that's what I don't.
You want to know is I think it's a weird sense of reality / karma, because when we think about Diddy's history of being able to pay people and get away with stuff, so when we think about the situation with Shine, and Sean taking involved in that case, and that girl who got shot in the face, deliberately verbatim said, I saw him with my own eyes.
So you're flipping this on some karma shit. Even if it's faulty evidence, y'all should have got him on
they should have got him on
the club shooting situation with Sean.
Yeah.
And other different things that we won't mention here.
And probably allowed this to live. Like, I mean, it's the feds, like, I know it's a federal case, but you remember when it was like the NYPD, which they wouldn't have investigated it any further. He would have paid them off. But you remember how initially they said they were opening up a case and looking to investigate Sean Combs based on what was in the deposition when he was served with the paperwork.
Yep.
And then they came back and said, oops, sorry, bad. But, interesting conversation that we were having about trafficking, and Herb and I was talking about this, and he was saying, but it wasn't like commercial. I said, it is commercial because it went through his enterprises.
Yeah, he was using the bad boy MX.
And this is literally, honestly, how we get this case. Because of commercial enterprise.
Yeah.
It's literally that simple. And everybody's like, well, he didn't do this. It wasn't like he was out here killing. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Pure allegedly. Yeah. Now, Dom, I have a crazy, we Aquarius, I got an imagination now.
Okay.
Now, does a jury, if I'm in the head of a jury pool and we go in and it's a case like this, I'd be like, hey, y'all, does he need to do time? Like, that's the first thing I'm going to say to everybody in the pool before we go through all the charges. Like, do we think he needs to do some kind of time? And let's vote there. And then we go down through the charges, because I don't want us all voting. We need to negotiate then about what charges we going to let stick or not. Yeah. Do we think he needs to do some time? Okay, we all agree on that. All right, let's go through all these charges and then vote which ones we feel the most strongly on or don't feel strongly. And I wonder if jurors do that. I mean, and
that many charges based on like different shows that we've all seen. It shows like that's how that kind of sort of happens in that room.
Like, hey, he got to do some time, right, y'all?
Like I said, a key thing here, honestly, could have just been the drug thing. It's something substantial that they can get him on because they can prove it. Like, I consented to go into the kickoffs, the freak off.
All right, so the prosecution is finished. Their rebuttals Monday. The jury's going to start deliberating on Monday.
Damn. Okay. So for me, I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of there's key things that I think they should have focused on. And he definitely, like I said, they got him on the DB. He definitely domestic violence. But there's a lot of people that have immunity. I'm still interested, which I mean, we know how this likely happened, how CNN got that tape. So it's likely either because all they kept pushing the guy that recorded the screen.
Mm-hmm.
All we know is that he recorded the screen. They didn't press him and say, did CNN pay you, or did you did you send this to CNN? They never
got that from CNN?
Huh?
I mean, I'm not. No, what I'm saying. Do you think CNN? Where do you think CNN got it from then?
If he had a copy of that tape, like we talk about trophies, if he's like,
it's got to be from the raid, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it came out around that time, but that could be the kicker. Homeboy could have alley-ooped it, and then was like, so it looked like it
because it was the same time. Like we had.
Yep, it was like literally the same. It was like next day.
Yeah,
because that was the question that wasn't asked, and that I was kind of shocked that wasn't asked. And I mean, we know definitely, like I said, domestic violence, they can definitely tie the drugs, transporting drugs across state lines, all of that. They can tie that. Like I said, I consented to the freak off. I didn't know it was going to be GHB in the baby oil. So when we lubing up and doing all of this stuff, which who is using baby oil? John, never mind. I'm too health conscious. But you think about stuff penetrating your skin, like even if you don't put it necessarily inside you, like it's still going to penetrate your skin. So, but I didn't consent to it. So that was one of the things. You know what? Let me shut up, because if my mama see this, she's like, I told you to go to law school. I'm just looking at it from the standpoint of like, this is the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
And I told y'all, even with trafficking, kidnap, how simple and finite that law is.
And maybe we just ain't. It's just like one of those things like jaywalking. It's a crime. People just don't do nothing about it, but you could be given a ticket for it. But it's one of the things you'll be mad like, dude, people do this all the time, but it technically is still illegal, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, and this is one of those cases where you're like, it ain't that big of a deal, but it's still a crime, even though it's not prosecuted at a high level. That's the thing. So I can't, but then it gives credence to people that believe that this is a thing to take down a man with a whole bunch of money.
It's not
a black man with a whole bunch of money.
Because like people, like Herman, he was like, oh, I think it's the Diageo thing. I said, I don't think it's that. I said, here's the thing. It has been a long time coming, and it just looks a little obscure now. But hey, let's be real.
Now,
you should have paid the girl, and not saying that other victims don't deserve any sort of justice or anything. Like, we're not saying that, but he had wind of what was coming regarding Cassie suing him, and he didn't do right, but ultimately he did. But that goes back to the narcissistic, sociopathic behavior that he consistently displays and exhibits, because this whole time, y'all are thinking, because not me, because I knew that this was like this amicable breakup, and this girl, really, you start to hear the details of everything that happened and transpired, and it's just like, yo, like, you can say, yeah, I consented to this, but I ain't trying to be on XYZ. And when you understand, and so, which was a key thing to them bringing in experts regarding sexual abuse, and talking to, and the experts breaking down the psychological things that happens to people when they go through abuse. Like, we see it all the time, how somebody has tried to file a restraining order against somebody. They finally had reached their breaking point. Enough was enough. There was a case not too long ago where they was supposed to be, this woman went to the court to get a restraining order against her husband or whatever. They had to appear in court. She was supposed to be escorted out of court by a clerk or a security guard or something, and they did not extend that to her. And the husband shot her up in the parking lot. Yes.
Dang.
So when you think about the psychological things told that takes some people, and now you're in the survival mind state, and you can say, oh, she liked the nice thing. She liked everybody. Listen, everybody has a breaking point. You can't tell me what mine is, and I can't tell you what yours is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when we got even more detailed, like I said, sores in your mouth, you know, from day long, you know, 4 or 5 day freak offs. Your body is going through exhaustion, and whatnot. But
does he? Before since everybody's deliberated, I mean, are they getting ready to deliberate? How much time? Do you think he gets convicted, or is this become a hung jury?
I'm 50-50.
Yeah. Because
I'm surprised that they only had the one. Well, technically, okay, they had the one juror issue where they removed the guy because he lived in Jersey. And then the one conversation where there was information.
No, you could keep going, Dom. Keep going. My bad.
Oh, okay. I thought something was happening on your side.
No. I would keep calling. No. I was Xander calling me.
Oh, okay.
No, keep going.
My bad. Yeah, my bad. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. And then like also the judge having to have a conversation with the prosecution and the defense about information that was leaked to the public that only they would know. To be honest, I am shocked that those were the only 2 incidents that happened over the course of this 8 weeks. And then you get the crazy lady that they had to kick out that was like free Diddy or the man or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there were key elements or key players that should have been interviewed that were not, that should have been subpoenaed. And I said that last week or the week before last regarding Gene Deal, because he is a key player and a key witness to a lot of things, to the point where you quit working with somebody for 3 different times. And then maybe because he kept going back, they would have looked at that as he could be, it's a level of loyalty that's there. But it's also he will paint him in a different light. But at the end of the day, a check gonna clear, and he needed a check.
He said a check gonna clear.
They're gonna clear for Gene Deal, not necessarily his artist. Let me rephrase that.
Yes. That's 2 separate things.
Yes. And so I want to circle back to the sex trafficking charge that involves recruitment, harboring, transportation, provision, and obtaining of a person for the purpose of a commercial sex act. And so the key elements in this charge is this refers to the specific actions taken by the trafficker, such as the recruiting, transporting, and obtaining the victim. This involves the methods used by the trafficker to induce or force the victim into commercial sex acts. This can include force and fraud or coercion. And then the ultimate goal of the trafficker is to exploit the victim for commercial sex acts. Diddy did that. And when they say commercial, it's you pimped Cassie out to sex workers, to your enterprise. Is that not what he did?
Yeah, that's what he did.
Maybe Jane Joe want to say, "Oh, I knew what I signed up for." Did he kill? He said he gonna do an easy 10. I don't know if I don't think the crazy part. I don't know if Puffy gonna get 10. I think it's gonna be a weird thing, kind of. Though it was so much happening in the Young Thug case, and people
gonna get a nick. I think he can go to Nick. I think he'll get a nickel bag, a 5-piece, and they're gonna give him that year as time served, and maybe give him like a year and a half house, and then he got 3 to 7 years probation.
I can see that makes more sense to me.
He gonna have to he might be in a half house or one of those work camps for like a year.
Yeah.
And then he's on 15 years probation.
You want to know what's crazy is that I'm thinking about the psychological aspect of his daughters.
I mean,
after this,
I'm thinking about even the boys too. Who wants to do business who don't want to do business with Combs unless they're desperate, a desperate business person.
I think. Can I say something?
Go ahead. I know niggas gonna nigga. No, I get that.
And that's but no. That's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta say.
I know. I'm with you.
We on the same.
Those are people. The ones that are making the real money are those. They're going to do business with someone that wants to make a come up. If someone's got more bread than them or equal bread, why would I do business with a Combs? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying people won't do, but I'm saying they won't be able to get big money like they should.
It's gonna be. It's gonna be
someone under them that wants to do business.
We see this time and time again where there's it's like the comeback kid story, like and I hate to say it.
Low key, the baby got the best chance. That little youngest baby born got the best chance. Change her name. Change her name.
Yep.
Simple thing. Change her. And people don't even know what she looked like for real.
I was gonna say that, or you get the because the other kids are so visible. Because Justin need to be Justin Hilton. I would change it to my mama name.
Yep, but that ain't gonna matter. People know what you look like.
That's what I was gonna say too. I was like, that's irrelevant. But shoot, at this point, if he gotta go get a regular job,
nah, they ain't getting no regular. They don't even know what that means.
But I know they talked about the huge hit financially that Puffy has taken since all of this has happened. And I mean, he's not a billionaire no more, but he has hundreds of millions of dollars. So, and like I said, one would think, because clearly it shows that you're not as business and money savvy as people assumed you were, based on these because these are dumbass plays. Like, let's just be clear, very clear. These are dumb business moves.
Yeah.
So one would think that you still have money in an offshore. Your kids have trust.
Yep.
And all that different stuff. But I'm like, hey, I don't know.
we don't know how that's going to end up bending out and how that's going to end up going. But overall, Dom, it's going to be interesting seeing how these jurors come back, how they're going to decide and deliberate.
You want to know what's funny?
And all the internet talk can stop. So we'll be able to know for sure. Everybody always thinking what the jury is going to do. We'll find out. Either side, prosecution did well or the defense did well, and we're gonna see. Now, if I'm the defense, if the one dude, he might be on t-shirts. The dude that helped Young Thug, I forgot his name. Is it Cox? It's something like that Diddy hired. If he wins this and he's on that team, you know how much money he gonna make? Dom, he probably already paid. But we talking about. You just got off 2 people that people thought were burned.
And we know that shit with Thug. It's just Young Thug got lucky. Right. He got lucky because of all the obstruction that was happening within the court with Fonnie and all of them.
If this lawyer helps get him Diddy off of this one, he gonna be the white Johnny Cochran.
Yeah, but then it could be the flip side, because you know how pretty much everything ended for the defense, because you know they always said that case was cursed. Because think about it, ain't none of them attorneys alive no more that was on the defense.
F. Bailey is still alive. The oldest dude is still alive. That's the crazy part, I believe.
Who know him? No.
He was the main gangster owner. He was the smartest.
No, it was Cochran. The main person that they always talked about was Cochran. And Rob, the
Rob didn't do shit though. Rob was like basic.
He was like assisting with because it was his
friend. The main
person that they always talked about, because we followed that oddly in elementary school.
Yeah, but I'm reading them now. It's Johnny Cochran was lead attorney, then Robert Shapiro, Alan Dershowitz, F. Lee Bailey's dude I'm talking about, and Carl E. Douglas. Carl E. Douglas is the other black dude. He just died last year.
Yeah.
F. Lee Bailey just died in 2021. So that's what I'm saying.
You said it was Rob Shapiro?
Rob Shapiro, yeah.
Like, can you click his credits? Because why do we know his name? Ain't he a part of
Rob Shapiro? He's still alive. He's been in a lot of cases.
That's what I was like. I was like, who lawyer was that?
So he's part of the OJ Dream Team. Phil Spector.
Okay.
With Phil Spector, the producer, where he
Phil Spector went to jail. He did that shit.
Yeah.
he definitely did that shit.
Oh, he represents Steve Wynn, Eva Longoria, Rob Kardashian, and some revenge porn thing against Black China.
I didn't know she was trying to leak anything against him.
No, I think she claimed he did.
Oh shoot!
That because he's a defense attorney, so it would be her saying that. Yeah. Also, I mean,
yeah. I just want to say this. This is random. Sidebar.
Yeah.
The ultimate got your ass will forever be Black China.
Yeah, I mean,
cause bet you gonna take my nigga. Y'all gonna do this to me. I got a baby by y'all brother.
So y'all gonna have to pay me.
Oh, you know what that was? You know what? I don't know if it was necessary. There was something that happened because you remember Rob and China had a reality show. And then it was this whole thing about pulling that show, but then China was trying to prove that was actually like Chris and them like pressuring the network to pull that show because it had like high ratings. It was, I remember there was something about that as well, but I didn't know about the revenge porn aspect. But I remember that was also was suing them about that.
Yeah, no, that OJ team was gangster, boy. Like F. Lee Bailey, he was like one of the little mastermind cat. He was like the super smart cat behind the scenes. That was him. I mean, I'm not saying Johnny wasn't either, but F. Lee Bailey was the one coming up a lot like, yo, we should do this, we should do that. I know that he was really instrumental in a lot of that stuff with the OJ trial, but I'm just saying this would be
okay. So here's my question.
Yeah.
Before we go back to Puffy.
Yep.
You remember it was that theory that OJ's his son really killed them?
I believed in that for a while. It was maybe a 5-year period.
I wanted to know your thoughts. Okay.
It was a 5-year period. I believe that from around 2004 to 2009. I believe that.
Okay.
I came back to, I don't know. That's where I'm at right now. Okay. I don't know.
You know,
you can convince me either way at this point.
Yeah, I just was wondering, but no, I
guess we need to talk the aftermath either way. All right, because we'll talk about after the case when they give the results next week. All right, if Diddy gets convicted, what do you think is the aftermath for him and his family? And then part 2 of the question, if it gets off, does Diddy come out kicking it, acting a fool, doing parties, going crazy? And does he not learn from his lesson from this and just kind of, but he tries to get better with his maneuvers?
You know, one would hope, but considering that Young Thug was already, like, they try to get him caught up and going to Atlanta because, you know, he's not supposed to go to Atlanta for like 10 years or something.
Yep.
So I think that it creates even more, if let's say he gets off, even more of a God complex where he thinks he's invincible. And then we'll end up in something else. He'll switch some plays up, but I can see us back here not too long from now. Or my hope would be is like, yo, you got off and yo, just retire, just relax, give your people, like you said, free the royalties in a fair way, like to your artists.
Freedom,
Uh,
free that publishing, Diddy.
and that was the other like, y'all ain't calling Aubrey O'Day. You call Dawn, which Dawn would know stuff. Because
She's around him longer.
She was around him longer, but I mean, the way that Aubrey been acting the ass this whole time. And I'm not gonna say acting the ass, calling him out, but also people, I can see how somebody would say, this
She's
is a
unhinged.
woman scorned. Yeah, she's a woman scorned because she didn't get what she wanted in the end. But it was so many people that the prosecution could have called on that they didn't. They could have spoke to how he signed that stuff over to them and gave them $500, but it came with an NDA. If you ain't got nothing to have, why they need an NDA? What they hiring? You just can't sign the that publishing over to them and that be that.
Oh, he's not doing that.
But that's what I'm saying. It was so many things that could have been referenced in this case, in his ability to intimidate people. We proved that. But like I said, the key thing that'll probably really get him is the fact that they were able to tie this to his business and Cassie's mama testimony about him extorting him out that money. Because he was going to do revenge porn on her, which is also illegal, guys. And also, I want to say this because when you look at the U.S. government version of sex trafficking, you have states that break it down and what their laws are. So let's say, for California, the state laws also criminalize sex trafficking. For example, California Penal Code XYZ defines human trafficking as depriving or violating personal liberty to obtain forced labor and exploit individuals in an obscene manner. And there's also a procure commercial sex, but it don't even focus on the commercial part. So depending on where you are, if it's likely they're similar to that. So it was like, hey, you did forced labor. Prostitution is not legal. We talk about that.
Yes. Yep.
So you did cross state lines, commercial acts. You was watching, you was doing all this. So it's all these different guidelines. Like they getting them on that.
Yeah, I can't see him walking on all these charges. I mean, I don't think he's gonna get all of them, but and the U.S. government is not gonna spend all this money and not get him for something. And my thing is, Diddy gonna have to walk. He gonna have to walk if he does get like a couple of years and has to get probation. He gonna have to walk a tight line, Jack. Woo.
Yeah, and I can see them. I can just see them. The crazy part about all of this is oddly, I could see him on probation for longer than he is in jail.
Oh, for sure.
I could see him low-key on probation for the rest of his life.
And that means no late nights at Live. I mean, maybe I guess he might say, bump it. I can, control it with security and still do it, but man, the other part of me is like, will they try to rope him into the Keefe D case in Las Vegas if this don't work?
Girl, look, sir. I have a bad habit of doing that because you just be saying girl to everybody. Yeah. Like I will send a voice note and be like, girl, and I'm talking to my homeboy, and I'm like, I'm sorry. It's that unknown, but I can't allow that to stress me out.
Yeah, it's the unknown.
I just don't know what, it's weird because part of me, we so used to disappointment, especially in this country. Part of me feel like they gonna get puffy on something for Donald Trump to pardon him.
You
The other part of
sound
me
like
is like
conspiracy
Donald
theorist
not
now.
gonna even get involved because you got Elon already said, hey, that list ain't been leaked because he on the list, which we know he on the list.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other part of me is just like, this is America. This nigga not going to jail. But then on the flip side, it's like, and I get it, like this was the interesting thing that, oh my God, Herb, I said, but you know, they got Harvey Weinstein, and he just got charged with something else.
They got him on another charge?
Yeah, this was not too long ago. It was some other thing. But then he's like, but is that the same thing? I said, it's not. We have this banter about that because you think about it, it's this person coercing somebody into a sexual act for a job. That's sexual assault, sexual, you can't do that. Where it's like, it's kind of straight and narrow, for that. Where this one is so convoluted because, like I said, the thing with the consent. But if I consented to going to a freak off and I'm a call girl or a guy or whatever, there are certain things that I consented to, which was also, I'm surprised that they didn't pull like the full agreement where these people, so people can understand the ins and outs, because they would have been able, if it doesn't say anything about, drugs will be provided, you would have got him on that. It would have been so many things. So I'm surprised that wasn't entered in as evidence.
I mean, Harvey Weinstein got 16 years. So
he old.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that is not me saying, oh, he needs to die. That's not me saying that. Saying like Harvey Weinstein is old. And Harvey Weinstein actually, he might not be as old as I thought because,
No, he's only 71.
Oh, okay. So he is as old as I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. 73. I'm sorry, 73.
So, and he been in jail for already 4 years, 3-4 years.
More than that. He's been in there since 2018.
Oh, damn. He almost been in there at 10.
Yeah, let me make sure. I know they said he's been arrested since 2018. So
okay. So if he got 16, I mean, hey boy.
Yeah, but I think he's got multiple states though. He's got so that's just 16, I think, in Cali, because they got another trial in September 12th of 2024. Grand jury indicted Weinstein on new charges and announced by the prosecutors from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The specific charges remain unknown as an indictment is sealed and were revealed during Weinstein's arraignment. On September 18th of 2024, Weinstein was arraigned in New York for his new indictment, entering a plea of not guilty to one count of criminal sexual act in the first degree. The prosecution filed a motion to consolidate the new charges into Weinstein's retrial rather than have two separate New York trials. The presiding judge granted the prosecution's motion to consolidate on October 23rd. On June 12th, 2025, Weinstein received a mistrial on this charge following tensions within the jury. Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, dang. I knew something happened, but I thought it was.
But they can bring it back, though. So they can still bring it back. There's some issues within the jury. That don't mean they're not going to bring it back. So Weinstein's in there for life. So they trying to get him in. As soon as he get out of Cali, they send him to New York, Jack.
Yeah.
Woo, man. Harvey and R. Kelly is on that tour too. He got charges in multiple states too. He get out of
and that'd be the thing. That's like, oh, R. Kelly getting out. I'm like, yeah, he has another state to go to.
Yeah. They ain't running concurrent.
It's like y'all people that I'm playing y'all traffic tickets. Y'all do a tour to St. Louis. Somebody bind you out somewhere. And so that's why we be like, you better sit there for a month and just let it be.
You're gonna take a tour. You're gonna take a tour of all the jails where you got all your charges at.
Girl. I mean, sir.
That's all. Look, you did it. Hey,
it's so good as girl. Like how you sing song it, like girl.
Like you it's like Millie Vanilli, girl, you know it's true. Man, so I'm interested next week. I mean, if the deliberation comes out sooner, we'll do a live. I mean, they're talking about. We don't know how long they deliberate.
And that's the thing. But that's also with them streamlining those charges too, to make it more, I'm gonna say, literal for the jury. Like where they can make sense of everything. But I think I really believe, D, is like how you said, they go in and it's like, okay, we got this. What do we think about this? In this degree, do we find him guilty because of this substantial evidence here? Here, do we think it's not enough to say this? And then we have to put into the aspect of testimony. Well, this, then you got the mama. You know what I mean? So I think it is like that. But like I said, the moment we find out, we'll be back here.
Yeah, because just looking on here, I mean, people are, think they have their own predictions of, but nobody knows how long they're gonna take behind there. I mean, and I'm not gonna even front though. I like it. This trial did wear on people. I think the length of it wore on people, not just because. Now, I guess the next question would be for you as we wrap up. Do you think it wore on people because we had not enough information to watch it like you could the OJ trial?
I think that's the key element. I think that's a key thing where people, but I also understand because of the information, the assault, the violence, the domestic violence, and sexual assault. I think that I understand why they didn't have it. But I think it kind of would have been nice to have like an audio aspect of it. Because like we're relying on, key elements from you. And like I said, a lot of the stuff that we've read, that we've studied was really good. Because like you said, CNN, Washington Post, like, okay, at 8:42, this happened. So they have really good summaries. But I think that because we didn't have a look inside, honestly, I would say people probably forgot that this was even happening.
But you can't people don't understand, you can't have TVs for federal trials, I believe, either.
Okay.
Only state trials can have court TV in there.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I believe I read that's why you can't have them in federal trials. Only state trials that can allow television coverage inside the courtroom.
Yeah, but also, like, I think because then you could have saw like some of the like tactics that Sean was also using as well. Like, oh, I'm bringing the Bible, I'm praying.
Okay, so here we go down. So just to give us the listeners, no federal trials are generally federal trials are not televised due to the federal rule of criminal procedure 53, which prohibits photography and broadcasting of judicial proceedings. While some exceptions exist for experimental pilot programs in civil cases and some for appellate courts to provide recordings, the default position is banned on cameras in federal criminal trials.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Big Chris. We miss you too.
Man.
I'm interested to see next week, Don, where can people hit you up at?
Y'all can find me on the social media, wherever you social media network. St. Angela's. I'm on Twitch, YouTube. And actually on Twitch is St. Angela's TV. YouTube, I think it's St. Angela's or Dash or something. But y'all start typing it in. Y'all see my face.
Yeah. You're just jumping in. We had a lot of people jumping on the live here. Go back, listen to the full thing. We have fun. We don't know. We finna find out next week with this whole Diddy trial. It's gonna be it's gonna be amazing how people are gonna be acting. And to me, if I'm the jury, I ain't doing shit till after the holiday. I ain't gonna
hold you. Absolutely.
I ain't going into the holiday with this bullshit. Or on the flip side, maybe I want to get this shit done, so I ain't going into my holiday on this bullshit.
No, that's true.
So it depends on which way you look at it,
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. It's definitely tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. Man, thank y'all for listening as always. We'll be back. We've been doing Thursdays. Whatever the jury come out with it, that's gonna be the next one. We ain't gonna just be updating you on nothing we don't know about if ain't no jury deliberation happening. So We will see y'all soon. Thank y'all for listening. Peace.